Today we discuss finding inspiration. Good morning and welcome to the Chronic Pain Call-In Show, the only show about chronic pain where you can call in live. I'm your host, Joseph of Borg. I'm here every Sunday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific Time. I look forward to talking to you. Good morning. Welcome to the Chronic Pain Call-In Show. Today we're going to discuss finding inspiration. This is a challenge even for people who are healthy. And I think it's even more of a challenge for those of us who have chronic pain. So I thank you for joining me this morning. And I just want to welcome you. Hope you got something to drink. I know personally when I was when my chronic pain issues got bad enough that I had to retire from the workforce and became disabled, it's very difficult, and not to be sexist, I think especially for men, people look at you funny. We're supposed to be the provider, right? If a man doesn't work, what's wrong with him? Um, so I think our egos are even more so tied up into what we do for a living. A lot of this is evident in our society. When you meet somebody for the first time, one of the very first questions they will ask you is, "So what do you do?" Um, and if the answer is, "I don't do anything," uh, it can be quite awkward. So, with that said, I really feel it's ultra important for those of us who um, have disabilities to find something to inspire us, something to motivate us, some reason to get out of bed in the morning. I'm just trying to look over here at the comments real quick. Sorry. Um, always on always on the lookout for tech gremlins, if you will. Um, Good morning, everybody. Glad to see you all could join me. So, um, really, it's a challenge also because a lot of the things, if you did have something that inspired you, something you really enjoyed, there's a good chance you can't do it anymore. Um, in addition to losing your career or your employment, a lot of times you'll lose social. There's a social cost if you're somewhat confined. I don't get out a whole lot, so this is one of the ways that I communicate with people and try and socialize is through the internet. But for those people who have a problem getting out of the house, the isolation, the loss of friends, the loss of social activities, um, maybe recreational activities, maybe you hiked, maybe you in the spinal cord stimulator groups we have several people that have rode horses and we're trying to get back to doing that. There's a lot of costs involved and it can be really hard to find an inspiration, and I really find inspiration kind of comes in two different categories. There's creative inspiration and then there's motivational inspiration, at least in my case. um, from a personal note, when I started losing my fine motor skills, typing became more and more painful and more difficult because I can't feel the keys anymore and my coordination's for shit. Um, that's when I decided to start doing video. Also, because sometimes when you're in chronic pain, I know you need as much distraction as possible. Sometimes you just want to listen to stuff like podcasts, and sometimes you also want the visual stimulation, so you'll actually want to watch a video. This way people can either listen or watch. And I had to learn how to do, well, everything related to producing this show every week. And that inspired me and it gave me something positive to do. To be creative, I really feel is something important for us to learn and to practice. Michelle, you can't hear me? It shows that my mic is coming through. If anybody else can hear me, throw me a thumbs up, will ya? because my monitor shows that my mic is working. Check, check. All right, is the mic better now? It should be working. It's showing outgoing. Let me see what else I. Sorry for the tech hiccup. It wouldn't be a live show if we didn't have some tech issues. So, but yeah, it looks like it's working from my end. If it's not, I guess I'll recut this. Um, it looks like there's about 6 people in the live stream, so if somebody can give me a thumbs up if you can hear me, I'll continue in the meantime. That finding inspiration, like I said, comes in 2 camps. There's creative inspiration and motivational inspiration. From creative inspiration, I make videos. I know people who no longer get out or who have disabilities. Really, if you can look at what your passion is, or sometimes I tell people, think about the thing you would have loved to have done if you had the time while you were working. Maybe you wanted to create art. Maybe I know Michelle does a really nice blog called The Pain Geek. Check her out, paingeek.net. I did a video about that a couple weeks ago, and for my birthday, I introduced her to that, or introduced you guys to her and what she's doing on paingeek.net. Uh, I have friends who in the disabled community who also do art. I've got some friends who do make jewelry. Uh, I've got friends who do all kinds of stuff. Finding a creative outlet, something that you can have some passion for, something that you can get out of bed in the morning, something to distract you from your pain. And yes, I know it's not going to cure your pain to find a distraction. It's not going to eliminate your pain, but sitting and moping and just focusing on your pain certainly doesn't seem to help the situation. Um, so I'm not saying it's all in your head. Distraction therapy can be a trigger topic for a lot of people with chronic pain because they think people aren't taking your pain seriously. But hey, if there's a mental aspect to something like golf and other sports, then there's certainly a mental aspect to living with chronic pain. So that said, really trying to find something you want to do, and giving you a reason to get out of bed, giving you a reason to get up in the morning, and giving you some purpose in life, I feel is really, really critical. It's very easy for us to fall into depression. It's very easy with the isolation. So finding something to keep yourself busy. Sometimes I'll just put on my headphones, blast some music, and I play online poker tournaments. Because I'm here in Nevada and I'm allowed to play on the World Series of Poker website, um, since I am in Nevada, and that's something I like to do. Obviously, I make my videos. I'm very active in the online chronic pain community. Um, you have to find some things to occupy your time. So, from the creative aspect, if nothing else, if you've got something going on and you think you're the only one, I'll give you a quick cure for that. Just get on Facebook and create a group. I don't care if you're a left-handed bowler from Dubuque, Iowa. If you put up a Facebook group, you will find other people who are in the same boat. So that would be a really good suggestion for you. Again, that breaks the isolation. I'm always advocating that we network and talk to one another and try and help and support each other because there's millions of us in the chronic pain community. So uh, that said, I wanted to talk about the other aspect of inspiration, and that's um, not the creative so much as the motivational inspiration. For those of you who don't know, I try to go to the pool and get in the pool and exercise for a couple hours 3 times a week. The reason I go for a 2 hour block is because when I get moving around in the pool or out of the pool, my pain level goes up. At about the 20-minute mark, my endorphins kick in. I always try and go on an empty stomach because I get a little queasy from the adrenaline and whatnot. And when that happens, and once that subsides, which is usually takes about 10 minutes, so at about the 30-minute mark, now I'm in the sweet zone, if you will. I've heard about the runner's high. I don't run. If you see me running, you should probably start running too. But once I'm in that zone, I might as well give it all I've got, because when I get home, it's going to be horizontal time, which is the term I use for when I have to lay down to let my pain subside, regardless. So I use the idea that I'm in a use it or lose it situation. If I don't stay as active as I can in spite of my pain, um, I'm going to lose more function. If I don't go to the pool for 2 or 3 weeks, I start having trouble just getting around the house. So I have to do it. And this is something that's a razor's edge for most people because I call it the economy of pain. What's it going to cost you versus what you're going to benefit? When you're a chronic pain patient, it seems like you always have to balance that out. Whether it's going out for a social event and it's going to put you in bed for the next day, or going to work out and it's going to cost you some pain and it's going to cost you some horizontal time. Naturally, when you first start getting exercise, if you've been inactive, just like if you were healthy, it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to cause you some pain. There's no way around that. It's just a matter of getting going and getting it done, so to speak. So I'm not seeing anything else scroll by in the chat, so I'm hoping it's working. So we'll just leave it at that. Another thing for me that's I'm finding motivation in, I really, really do not exercise on the land. Because when I'm in the pool, I'm in zero-G environment, plus the hydrostatic pressure of the water helps your heart and lungs work better. But a couple of things that I have had come about in my life recently that's working as motivational inspiration for me is I had some testing done recently, going to a rheumatologist. One of my inflammatory markers that can be connected to cardio issues was a little high or was high, so they sent me out to a cardio. I met with him last week. He wants to do basically an ultrasound of my heart and do the stress test. They get a better result from the stress test if you can get on the treadmill as opposed to giving you medication to elevate your heart rate. He says it only takes 6 minutes. Well, only is a big word when you've got chronic spine issues and it comes to a treadmill, but that's going to be at the end of next month. So I'm really motivated. I've been going to the casino since I live here in Las Vegas, walking laps around the perimeter of the casino. Did 30 minutes the other day. Yeah, it hurts like a bitch, but each time I do it, it hurts a little less. So I'm hoping to build up my stamina between now and then. I'm also going to be pushing it harder in the pool to really try and work my cardio. I do a lot of core work. I do a lot of balance work. I'm really going to focus. I do like, if you guys remember the Nordic tracks where you swing your arms and move your feet like you're cross-country skiing. I do that while I'm about neck deep in water with a couple of the foam dumbbells for the pool. And I'm going to really start pushing myself to do that longer and longer blocks of time while I'm in the pool to see if I can't build up my cardio, because I'm sure it suffers from me just sitting around. Combined with that, my daughter Sarah and her boyfriend are coming out to Las Vegas in early April. It'll be our first time meeting her new boyfriend. They, young go-getter couple, they got to stay someplace fancy on the strip. So I'm going to be visiting them down there. Motion is lotion. I like that. It sounds just a little bit obscene, but I like it. They're going to be staying on the strip. We're going to be visiting them on the strip, and I want to be able. I'm really getting to the point where it's scooter or no scooter. I've got to make the choice. And if I'm going to go out someplace other than just the basic grocery shopping with my wife where I can cheat and use a cart, I'm really starting to think about buying a scooter once I move in June. I don't want to buy one now and transport it cross country, but I'd really like to give a serious shot at trying to increase my walking range before I kind of cave in and go for a scooter. So, not that there's anything wrong with using a scooter. I've used a wheelchair at the airport. I really think it might expand my life. Ironically, we're in Vegas. We don't go out that much. Pain level, social level, financial level. We don't have money to run to the casino all the time and play. We rarely, usually I go to the casino, I go hit them at the buffet, and usually just for swiping your player's card or having one, you get it at a discount or maybe a 2-for-1, and they cannot beat me at the buffet game. I'll guarantee you that. So, um, so that's motivating me to push myself. And I know I personally, and I'm sure I'm not alone, it's very easy to use your pain as an excuse to not do what you can do. Hey, I've used it, let's be honest. Somebody invites you somewhere, you really don't feel like doing it. Maybe you say yes in the moment because they're right in front of you, and gets closer to the day and you just decide you really don't want to do it, and it can be an easy cop out. My boss back when I worked in the body shop business had a sign over his desk that said, if you're looking for an excuse, you'll find one. So all that said, I really want to encourage you guys to look for ways to inspire you to find a purpose and be creative. All of us can do something. All of us used to be somebody and had skills before we got sick. So I encourage you to examine what you still can do. It will also help your focus because it's very easy to get caught up in what you can't do anymore. I can't do this and I can't do that. If you can try and focus on what you can do, it just takes a little bit of the sting off some of the things you can't do. Do the best you can until you can do better, and then try. The only person you should be competing with is yourself to try and have a better quality of life tomorrow than you've got today, and that's a challenge, especially for those of us with degenerative conditions. So, other than that, I don't have too much. As always, I'm hoping to get some phone calls, but I understand a lot of people want to communicate by text. That's what most people are into. I just know some people have motor skills issues, so the phone line is available. I'll just chat for another couple minutes before I go to see if anybody happens to want to call in. If you've watched this long and if you find what I'm doing valuable, I'm going to ask that you go ahead and share links to these videos, mention it. If you want to put it up, I'll put up the link. I registered the domain show, chronicpainshow.com. I'm typing that in. That should show up in the chat. It's easier than typing up the Chronic Pain Call-In Show. I also recently got some cards made. They're business cards, but I got them printed with two sides, and I think of them more as promotions cards. So if anybody out there is interested in getting some of those from me to help spread the word about what I'm doing, it just seemed like a really good way to try and do it, and it was cost effective. I've got 1,000 of them, so if you'd be interested in getting some cards from me to help spread the word about the Chronic Pain Call-In Show, please feel free to send me a message. For those of you who don't know, I also run a Facebook page called Spinal Cord Stimulator Success Stories for those who are interested in spinal cord stimulators, and a page called Surfing the Pain. Each of those also has a YouTube channel. So whatever format you like, however you like to stream or watch, I should pretty much have you covered. So with that, I'm going to back up out of here. I want to thank you again for coming on and watching today. I appreciate the time you spend with me. If you can leave a comment, a like, follow the page so you catch me every week, that would be awesome. Help me reach other people on this little mission I've got to try and be a light in dark places on Sunday mornings. So, one love, Joseph of Borg. With that, I'm out of here.